Sabadi EHS, my name is Tyson Adams and I'm 30 years old. And 13 years ago, I sat exactly where you're sitting. Of course, 13 years ago, I was not watching a video at an assembly, but that's not the crazy thing. The crazy thing is 3 years ago, I was back in Ephrata and I had my 10-year reunion. That was crazy. I want you guys to just look around at each other for a second. Because honestly, you guys will all be married and you'll have kids. And I know that sounds crazy right now, but it will happen. So yeah, get ready for it. So right now, I'm actually sitting in Southeast Asia. I'm in the country of Laos. You can also say Lao if you'd like. But where it is it's between Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and China. And it's actually a third world country. It's one of the most poor countries in the world, in fact. It's got a really interesting history, and I've been living here for a year and a half. The reason why I have your attention today is because I'm living a very unordinary life, and I need your help. But before I get there, I'm gonna tell you a story of how this all unfolded over the last 6.5 years. So, before I get to the story, I'll tell you what I did after high school. When I graduated, we actually lost the state championship baseball game. It was horrible. We were 26-0 and we lost in the state championship game. And I was gonna go on and play college baseball, but I was heartbroken. And so instead of following my passion for baseball, I actually left it behind. And I went to Seattle. I moved over there and oh my gosh, Ephrata to 2 million people in Seattle, my life was completely, radically changed. I mean, when I was in Ephrata, I think there was around 7,000 people, and so going to Seattle was a huge deal for me. And I spent 4 years there attending the University of Washington. So after I graduated from college, I worked for a few years, but all my friends, they started to travel and to see other places, and then Facebook came along, and they were showing me crazy pictures all over the world, and I became very curious. So I did something that was kind of crazy in the, when I think back on it, and even my family probably thinks it's crazy. I didn't ask for permission. I actually just decided to book a one-way plane ticket to Southeast Asia. I didn't ask for my mom or my dad's permission. I didn't ask for anybody's permission. I felt called to do something that was absolutely out of character for me. I should have been getting a job and doing things that maybe you need to do after you go to university, but instead I just decided to fly all the way to Thailand. And wow, Bangkok is crazy. It's like New York City, but oh, it smells horrible. Like, think about like an outhouse at the Grant County Fair on the very last day. Just horrible smelling, and people going crazy and cars driving all over the place. I was definitely out of my comfort zone, and it was really eye-opening for me. Okay, so when I arrived in Southeast Asia, first I traveled in Thailand for 1 month, and then I went up to Laos. And during my time in that country, I started to keep a dream journal. So when I would go to sleep at night, I would have these dreams and then I would write them down. And in this one dream, I actually saw myself importing coffee from Laos to America, selling it, and then providing education support back to the coffee community in the form of buying books for the children in the villages who are actually growing the coffee. So while I was traveling in Laos, what I started to realize is that Laos actually has a very tragic history. This is an actual bomb that was dropped during the Vietnam War. Now, we weren't really supposed to be in Laos, but we were, and we were dropping bombs. And in fact, Laos is the most bombed country in the world per capita. We dropped a plane load of bombs on Laos every 8.5 minutes for 9 straight years. Now, don't worry, this bomb has already been detonated, but here's the thing. This country still shows the impacts of the war, and here we are 30 years later. And you're not gonna be able to read that in the history books, at least when I was in high school. Now maybe, hopefully, if you guys look in your history books, it's actually telling the true story, but when I was in high school, I didn't even learn about this country because it was a secret war. And it's important for you to understand that the way in which we operate in America and the way in which we vote have effects on other places outside of where we live. So here's the situation. After the war, this country's been rebuilding, and you want to know what the biggest problem is that we're seeing is that diarrhea is the #2 killer of Lao children under 5, and that's behind pneumonia. And those are directly related to poor hygiene practices. Hygiene practices that in other countries that haven't been rebuilding don't deal with. And so what Jhai Coffee House is it's a representation of a desire to help with that problem, that need. And so what we are is we're a coffee shop. I'm sitting in it right now, and we take the profits of the cafe and all the tourists that come through, and we take that money and we drill clean water wells and run hygiene programs in the community to ensure that these children are healthy so that they can make it, past 5 years old, because they often don't. A year and a half ago, I decided to pack up all my things from Seattle, put it in storage, and land in Lao. And we took this old rundown house and made it into a beautiful cafe. And all the tourists that come through here, they drink coffee and they hang out and do coffee tours. And then we take all that money and we put it back into the community in the form of clean water and hygiene. And so far, we've done 7 clean water wells, and we've also put 3,500 children through hygiene programs. The other thing that we've done is we've educated the farmers on how to grow high quality coffee so that they can earn as much money from their efforts as possible. So Jhai is partnering with Key Club in order to run a fundraiser, and what we would really like for you guys to do is tell the story in the community. If you have parents, if you have friends, anybody that wants to contribute a little bit can go a long ways. It only costs about $1,700 to bring a whole school clean water. And this is, schools from anywhere from 100 to 200 children, and they don't have it. They literally go to school every day without water, without toilets. So that's what I need. I need your help. And the way in which you can do that, it's very simple. If you guys have smartphones, if you guys have a Facebook account, all you need to do is go to the Jhai Coffee House page. I'll show you it right here. Jhai Coffee House, Jhai Coffee House. It's the same as this. And these t-shirts are gonna be for sale. So if you guys wanna purchase a t-shirt, it's all gonna go and contribute all the way back to us building a well in recognition of Ephrata High School. I would also like to thank all my teachers, all the staff. You guys, if you had me as a student, here I am thanking you, because I know what it's like to get up in front of a classroom of 100 kids and try to keep their attention. It's so hard now. It's crazy hard. So thank you, because honestly, I finally can appreciate the education that I received at EHS. My last thoughts have a lot to do with living outside of Ephrata. Now, I'm not saying that my friends and my family that decided to stay in Ephrata did anything wrong. For everybody likes to do whatever they do, and I don't judge that. But what I will say is that when I decided to step out of that world that I grew up in and see something a little bit more, my entire perspective on life grew immensely. So if there is any part of you that's curious to travel, to see the world, to go to school in a place that you totally maybe are afraid to do, honestly, it will be the best decision of your life, because you will grow immensely. Ephrata is a wonderful community, and I love going back once in a while, but I promise there is a big, vast, crazy world out there, so go at it.